A billionaire offered his maid's daughter 3 wishes, but when the innocent girl revealed her first wish, everyone was stunned. Her simple yet heartfelt wish touched everyone's hearts, including the billionaire's. Marcus Chen stood in his penthouse living room, watching his longtime housekeeper, Maria, trying to calm her 8-year-old daughter Sophie, who sat crying on the leather couch. The girl had just found out her school was cutting the music program due to budget issues. Marcus had overheard the conversation from his office and walked out to see what the commotion was about. "I'm sorry, Nija," Maria whispered, stroking Sophie's hair. "I know you loved those violin lessons." Marcus cleared his throat. Both looked up, startled. Maria immediately stood, apologizing for the disturbance, but Marcus raised his hand. "Sophie," he said, kneeling to her eye level. "What if I gave you 3 wishes, anything you want?" Before we continue, let us know in the comments where you're watching from, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to The Goodness Effect. Sophie wiped her tears, confusion crossing her small face. "Like a genie." "Something like that," Marcus smiled. 3 wishes. Whatever your heart desires." Maria protested immediately. "Mr. Chen, you don't have to." "I want to," Marcus interrupted. He had been watching this family for 3 years. Maria worked harder than anyone he knew, often bringing Sophie to work when school was out. The girl would sit quietly in the corner, reading or drawing, never causing trouble. He had money. Why not use it to make someone happy? Sophie looked at her mother, then back at Marcus. "Anything?" "Anything reasonable," Marcus nodded. "But think carefully, 3 wishes is all you get." Sophie sat quietly for several minutes, her small fingers twisting the hem of her worn dress. Marcus expected her to ask for toys, perhaps a new bicycle, maybe even a trip to Disneyland. Most children would dob at such an opportunity. Instead, Sophie looked up with serious brown eyes. "Can I think about it?" Marcus was surprised. "Of course, take your time." Maria hustled Sophie toward the door, still apologizing profusely. But Marcus stopped them. "Maria, I'm serious about this. Let Sophie think it through. She can tell me whenever she's ready." That night, Marcus couldn't stop thinking about the interaction. He had made the offer impulsively, moved by the girl's genuine tears over losing something she loved. Music lessons. Not a video game, not a party. Education. That alone told him Sophie was different. The next morning, Sophie arrived with her mother. She walked straight to Marcus's office and knocked. "Come in," he called. Sophie entered, holding a piece of paper covered in careful handwriting. "I thought about my wishes, Mr. Chen." Marcus set down his coffee. "That was fast." "I know what I want," Sophie said firmly. She unfolded the paper. "For my first wish." She paused, and Marcus leaned forward. "I wish for my mama to never have to work on her birthday again." The office fell silent. Marcus stared at the child, processing what she had just said. Not a toy, not something for herself. She wished for her mother. "Sophie," Marcus said slowly, "you understand these wishes are for you, right? You can ask for anything you want." "I know," Sophie replied. "This is what I want. Mama always works on her birthday. She never celebrates. I want her to have one day that's just hers." Marcus felt something shift in his chest. He thought of his own mother, who had passed years ago. She had worked multiple jobs to support him, never taking time for herself. He had been too young to appreciate it then. "Your mother's birthday," he said. "When is it?" "Next month. April 15th. Marcus nodded. "Consider it done." "What's your second wish?" Sophie shook her head. "I need to save the other 2. I'm still thinking." After Sophie left, Marcus sat in his office for a long time. His assistant Jennifer poked her head in for their morning meeting and found him staring out the window. "Everything okay?" she asked. "That little girl just wished for her mother to have a day off," Marcus said quietly. "Not for herself, for her mother." Marcus called Maria into his office the following week. She came nervously, probably expecting bad news. "Maria, when's your birthday?" She blinked. "My birthday, sir?" "Yes, your birthday." "April 15th. Why?" Marcus leaned back in his chair. "You're taking it off this year. Paid. Actually, you're taking the whole week off." Maria's face went pale. "Mr. Chen, I can't afford." "Paid vacation," Marcus repeated. "Full week. And I'm arranging something special." "Sir, this is too much. Sophie shouldn't have." "Sophie made a wish," Marcus interrupted. "I'm honoring it. This isn't charity, Maria. Your daughter used her wish on you. The least I can do is make it count." Over the next few weeks, Marcus found himself obsessed with planning Maria's birthday. He discovered she had never been to a spa, never had a professional massage, never taken a vacation that wasn't visiting sick relatives. She had come to America from Mexico 15 years ago, worked 3 jobs to support Sophie after her husband died, and finally landed the position with Marcus 5 years back. She sent money home to her elderly parents every month. Jennifer helped him arrange everything. A week at a resort, spa treatments, nice dinners, all expenses paid, including money for Sophie's care. When he presented the plan to Maria, she cried. Not delicate tears, but body-shaking sobs that made Marcus deeply uncomfortable and strangely moved at the same time. No one has ever, she managed between breaths, ever done something like this for me. Thank your daughter, Marcus said quietly. She's the one who thought of it. The day before Maria's birthday, Sophie knocked on Marcus's office again. Mr. Chen. Come in, Sophie. She entered, still clutching that same piece of paper with her wishes. I'm ready for my second wish. Marcus set aside his laptop. I'm listening. Sophie took a deep breath. I wish for you to have dinner with us. Me and my mama, on her birthday. Marcus froze. Dinner? Yes. Mama talks about you sometimes. She says you work too hard and eat alone too much. She worries about you. So for my second wish, I want you to have dinner with us. So Mama doesn't worry, and so you're not alone. Marcus didn't know what to say. He had expected another selfless wish, perhaps for other people. But inviting him, a billionaire who could dine anywhere in the world? Sophie, I already arranged for your mother to go to a resort. She won't be here for dinner. Sophie's face fell, then brightened. Can we have dinner before she leaves? Please. Marcus agreed to dinner, though he felt oddly nervous about it. He couldn't remember the last time he'd eaten a home-cooked meal with people who weren't business associates or distant relatives wanting money. Maria protested. Of course. Mr. Chen, you don't have to eat our humble food. I want to, Marcus insisted. And he realized he meant it. They set the dinner for the evening before Maria's vacation. Marcus arrived at their small apartment across town at 7. He had never seen where they lived. The building was old, but clean. The neighborhood working nice but safe. Sophie opened the door wearing a dress that had been carefully mended in several places. Mr. Chen, come in. The apartment was tiny. 1 bedroom, a small living area, a kitchen barely big enough for 2 people. But it was immaculate, decorated with Sophie's drawings and school awards. The smell of home cooking filled the space. Maria emerged from the kitchen, flushed and nervous. I'm sorry it's not fancy, Mr. Chen. I made my grandmother's recipe. Chicken mole. It smells incredible, Marcus said honestly. They sat at a small table that barely fit 3 people. Marcus couldn't remember the last time he'd felt so out of place and yet so strangely comfortable. Sophie chatted about school, about her favorite books, about how she was teaching herself piano using videos online since the school program ended. You're teaching yourself piano? Marcus asked. It's hard without a real piano, Sophie admitted. I practice on a paper keyboard I drew. But it's okay. I can hear the notes in my head. Marcus looked at Maria, who gave a sad smile. We can't afford a keyboard right now, maybe next year. The meal was delicious. Marcus found himself eating seconds, something he rarely did. Maria relaxed as the evening went on, sharing stories about Sophie's childhood, about her own mother back in Mexico who had taught her to cook. Your mother sounds wonderful, Marcus said. She is. I wish Sophie could know her better. We video call every week, but it's not the same. She's getting older. I worry about her. Sophie reached over and squeezed her mother's hand. The gesture was so natural, so full of love, that Marcus felt something twist inside him. After dinner, Sophie brought out a small cake she had made herself. It was lopsided and the frosting was messy, but she had written, "Happy birthday, Mama," in careful letters. They sang. Marcus's voice cracked on the high notes. Maria cried again, happy tears this time. Later, as Marcus prepared to leave, Sophie walked him to the door. Thank you for coming, Mr. Chen. Thank you for inviting me, Marcus replied. He meant it. I still have 1 wish left, Sophie said quietly. I know, whenever you're ready. I'm almost ready. I just need to be brave enough to ask. Marcus looked down at this small girl who had already shown more wisdom than most adults he knew. Something tells me you're already brave enough. Maria's vacation was everything Marcus hoped it would be. She sent him a single text message. Thank you, doesn't feel like enough. You've given me the most beautiful gift. Sophie stayed with a neighbor family during that week. And Marcus found himself checking in on her twice. Just to make sure she was okay, he told himself. Not because he was starting to care about this little family. When Maria returned, she looked 10 years younger, rested, happy. She hugged Sophie for a full minute, then actually hugged Marcus, something that surprised both of them. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for giving me that." Life returned to normal. Maria worked. Sophie came after school sometimes. Marcus went back to his routine of meetings and emails and decisions that affected thousands of people he would never meet. But something had changed. He found himself stopping to talk to Sophie when she visited, asking about her day, her studies, her music. One afternoon, she was sitting in the corner of his office, drawing, while Maria cleaned. Marcus was on a video call that was going poorly. The deal was falling through, millions of dollars at stake. The foe on the other end was being unreasonable. Marcus felt his temper rising. He was about to say something he'd regret when he caught Sophie watching him with worried eyes. He took a breath. "Let me call you back," he told the person on screen and ended the call. "You looked angry," Sophie said softly. "I was getting there," Marcus admitted. "Mama says anger is just fear wearing a mask." "What are you afraid of?" Marcus stared at this 8-year-old who had just cut through layers of business psychology with one simple question. "That's very wise. It's what my papa used to say. Mama told me, your father sounds like he was a good man." "He was. I don't remember him much. I was 3 when he died. But Mama says he loved us more than anything." Sophie paused. "Do you have family, Mr. Chen?" "Not really. My parents are gone. No siblings, no wife or children." "That sounds lonely." "Sometimes it is," Marcus heard himself admit. He never talked about this, never acknowledged the emptiness of his penthouse, the silence of his evenings. "Is that why you work so much? So you don't notice?" Marcus opened his mouth to deny it, then stopped. This child saw right through him. "Maybe. My third wish," Sophie said suddenly. "I'm ready." Marcus's heart rate picked up. "Okay, what is it?" Sophie stood, walking to his desk. She placed her worn piece of paper in front of him. At the bottom, in careful letters, she had written, "Wish 3, for Mr. Chen to not be lonely anymore." Marcus read it 3 times. "Sophie, I don't understand. How can I?" "You need a family," Sophie said simply. "Not a pretend one, a real one. People who care about you, not your money. People who ask how you are and mean it. People who have dinner with you." "Sophie, I can't just create a family." "I know. That's why my wish is different. My wish is that you let us be your family. Me and Mama, not as your maid and her kid. As your family. Is that okay?" Marcus felt his throat tighten. This child was offering him something he had been missing for years without even realizing it. Connection. Belonging. Love. "Sophie, that's not how wishes work. I can't." "You asked what I wanted," Sophie interrupted. "This is what I want. I want you to come to dinner every week. I want you to care about us, and let us care about you. I want you to be Uncle Marcus, not Mr. Chen. That's my wish. Will you grant it?" Marcus didn't answer right away. He couldn't. The offer was so pure, so genuine, that it terrified him. "I need to think," he said finally. Sophie nodded and left. The next week, Marcus wrestled with the question. Family? With his employee and her daughter. It was inappropriate, unprofessional. It blurred boundaries in ways that could become complicated. But he couldn't stop thinking about that dinner. The warmth of it, the laughter, the feeling of being wanted for who he was, not what he could provide. Jennifer noticed his distraction. "You've been different lately." "Different how?" "Softer, more present." "What's going on?" Marcus found himself explaining the 3 wishes. Sophie's selflessness, the dinner, the offer of family. Jennifer listened quietly. "What are you afraid of?" she asked when he finished. "That was Sophie's question too," Marcus muttered. "Smart kid. So, what's the answer?" Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "That I'll fail them, that I don't know how to be what they're offering. I'm good at business, at deals, at making money. But family? I don't know how to do that. Did you know how to run a billion-dollar company when you started? No, but you learned. You can learn this too. The question is, do you want to?" Marcus knew the answer. He had known since Sophie placed that paper on his desk. He wanted this more than he had wanted anything in years. He called Maria into his office. She came quickly, probably worried she was in trouble. "Maria, sit down." She perched on the edge of a chair, nervous. "Sophie made her third wish," Marcus began. "She told me, Mr. Chen, I'm so sorry." "She shouldn't have." "Stop," Marcus said gently. "Please, just stop apologizing." Maria closed her mouth. "Your daughter asked if you and she could be my family. Not just people I employ. Family. People I care about, and who care about me." Marcus took a breath. "The thing is, Maria, I don't know if I deserve that offer. I'm not good at relationships. I work too much. I'm impatient and demanding, and probably difficult to be around outside of work. You're also generous and kind and lonely," Maria said quietly. "Sophie sees that, so do I." "I want to say yes," Marcus continued. "But I need you to understand what you'd be agreeing to. I don't do things halfway. If we're family, we're family. That means I'm invested. I care about Sophie's education, her future, your well-being. It means boundaries change, and if it doesn't work, if I fail at this, it could hurt all of us." Maria was quiet for a moment. "Mr. Chen, can I tell you something?" "Of course. When my husband died, I was lost. Sophie was so young. I had no money, no family here, no support. I worked myself to exhaustion just to keep food on the table. And I was so lonely, not for romance but for connection. For someone to see me as more than just a worker, someone to share my life with, even in small ways." She looked directly at him. "You gave me a birthday I'll never forget. You treated my daughter like she matters. You're asking if we'd let you be family like you'd be taking something from us. But Mr. Chen, you'd be giving us something we've been missing too. Someone else to love, someone else who loves us back. That's not a burden, that's a gift." Marcus felt his carefully constructed walls crumbling. "I don't know how to be Uncle Marcus." "Then we'll figure it out together," Maria smiled. That's what families do. They started slowly. Sunday dinners became a routine. Marcus would arrive at 6, usually bringing ingredients or sometimes flowers for the table. Sophie would update him on her week. Maria would cook. They would eat and talk and laugh. Marcus found himself actually looking forward to Sundays. He blocked the time on his calendar, turned down meetings, protected those evenings fiercely. He also started making changes. Small ones at first. He bought Sophie a keyboard. Not an expensive one, just a decent beginner model. Her face when she saw it made him understand why people had children. "Is this because of my wish?" Sophie asked. "No," Marcus said honestly. "This is because you're teaching yourself music on a paper keyboard, and that's ridiculous when I can easily fix it. Family helps family. Let me help." Sophie hugged him. The first time she had ever done that. Marcus stood awkwardly, then slowly wrapped his arms around her small frame. Something in his chest felt tight and warm simultaneously. He started learning about their lives. Really learning. Maria's mother back in Mexico needed surgery but couldn't afford it. Marcus handled it quietly, presenting it as a bonus for Maria's years of service. Maria cried, but accepted. Sophie was struggling in math. Marcus hired a tutor, then started working with her himself on Sunday evenings before dinner. He discovered he enjoyed teaching, breaking down complex problems into steps she could understand. His business associates noticed the changes. Marcus left work earlier now, took fewer weekend calls, seemed distracted sometimes, but also happier. "You're different," his CFO commented during a meeting. "Better or worse?" Marcus asked. "Better, more human. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." Jennifer smiled knowingly whenever Sophie visited the office. The little girl had her own chair now in the corner, usually doing homework while Maria worked. Sometimes she'd interrupt Marcus's meetings by knocking politely and asking if he needed tea. The first time it happened, his business partners were shocked. Now they expected it. "That's Sophie," Marcus would explain. "My niece." The lie became truth. She was his niece. In every way that mattered. 3 months into their new arrangement, Sophie's school had a music recital. She was performing on her keyboard, a simple piece she had learned. She handed Marcus and Maria matching invitations she had made by hand. "You're both coming, right?" she asked anxiously. "You have to come." "I'll be there," Maria promised. Sophie looked at Marcus. Uncle Marcus. The title still sent a warm shock through him every time she used it. "I'll be there. Front row." The recital was in a small auditorium. Marcus sat next to Maria, surrounded by other families. He was probably the only billionaire in the room, but nobody knew or cared. He was just another proud parent figure watching a child perform. Sophie's piece was simple, 4 minutes long. She made one small mistake near the end, but recovered beautifully. When she finished, she looked directly at Marcus and Maria and smiled. Marcus applauded harder than he had at any business success. His hands hurt afterward. Backstage, Sophie ran to them. "Did you see? Did I do okay?" "You were perfect," Maria said, hugging her. Sophie looked at Marcus. "Uncle Marcus." "You were amazing," Marcus said, and found he meant it more than almost anything he had ever said in his life. "I'm so proud of you." Sophie hugged him. Maria joined. The three of them stood there, a unit, a family, while other parents and children flowed around them. Marcus realized something in that moment. He had spent years building an empire, making money, achieving success. But this, right here, this was the first thing he had ever done that truly mattered. 6 months after Sophie's first wish, Marcus gathered them for a special dinner. Not at their apartment, but at his penthouse. He had never invited them there before. "This is beautiful," Maria breathed, looking at the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. "It's lonely," Marcus said. "I'm thinking of selling it, getting something smaller, warmer." Sophie was exploring, looking at everything with wide eyes. She found his library and gasped. "You have so many books. You can borrow any of them," Marcus said. "Any time you want." They ate dinner together. Marcus had cooked, or attempted to. The chicken was dry and the vegetables overcooked, but nobody complained. They ate and talked, and it felt right. After dinner, Marcus cleared his throat. "I have something to discuss with both of you." Maria and Sophie looked at him curiously. "Sophie, you gave me 3 wishes. You wished for your mother to never work on her birthday. You wished for me to have dinner with you. And you wished for us to be family." Marcus paused. "Those wishes changed my life. They gave me something I didn't know I was missing." "You're not lonely anymore," Sophie said softly. "No, I'm not. But I've been thinking, I want to make it more permanent, more real." He looked at Maria. "I want to set up a trust fund for Sophie's education. Full ride through college, graduate school if she wants it. Music lessons, tutors, whatever she needs." Maria started to protest, but Marcus held up his hand. "I'm not done. Maria, I want you to stop working as my housekeeper." Maria's face went white. "Mr. Chen, if I did something wrong, you did everything right, but you're family now. Family doesn't employ family. I want you to do something for yourself. Go back to school, start a business. Whatever you've always dreamed of, I'll support you financially while you figure it out. I can't accept." "You can. You will." Sophie used her wishes selflessly. Every single one was about someone else. "She's 8 years old, and she's already wiser and kinder than most people I know. You raised her that way, Maria. You made her who she is. Let me help you both. Please." Maria was crying. Sophie had tears in her eyes too. "There's one more thing," Marcus said quietly. "I'm going to be setting up a foundation to help other families like yours. Single parents working multiple jobs, kids who need opportunities. I want to grant wishes for people who deserve them, and I want you both to help me run it. If you want to." "A foundation," Maria whispered. "The Sophie Foundation," Marcus said. "Named after the little girl who taught a billionaire what really matters." Sophie launched herself at Marcus, hugging him tightly. Maria joined them, and the 3 of them stood there, holding each other, crying and laughing simultaneously. "I have something too," Sophie said, pulling back. She ran to her backpack and retrieved a folded piece of paper, the same one she had written her wishes on. She unfolded it and added one more line at the bottom. "Wish 4, unofficial, that Uncle Marcus knows he's loved." "I thought I only got 3 wishes," Marcus said through his tears. "You did. This one isn't from you, it's from me to you. My wish for you." Marcus took the paper, hands shaking. He had received awards, accolades, recognition from world leaders. But this crumpled piece of paper with a child's handwriting was the most valuable thing he had ever given. "I love you both," he said. The words felt foreign in his mouth. He couldn't remember the last time he'd said them to anyone. "You're my family. Thank you for letting me be part of yours." "You're the one who let us be part of yours," Maria said. They stayed up late that night, making plans for the foundation, for Sophie's future, for family vacations they would take together. Marcus showed them the spare bedroom he had been quietly converting into Sophie's room, for nights when they wanted to stay over. It had a bookshelf, a desk, and a beautiful new keyboard by the window. For when you need a quiet place to practice, Marcus explained. Sophie sat at the keyboard and played the piece from her recital, better this time, with more confidence. Maria and Marcus listened, and Marcus thought about the moment months ago when he had impulsively offered 3 wishes to a crying child. He had thought he was giving her something, but Sophie had given him everything. She had given him purpose, connection, love, family. The real wish, he realized, wasn't the 3 she had made. It was the 4th one. The unofficial one she had written just for him. That he would know he was loved. And standing in his penthouse with Maria's arm around his shoulders and Sophie's music filling the empty spaces, Marcus knew that wish had come true. He was loved. He belonged. He had a family. 3 wishes from a little girl had changed everything. Not through money or power or grand gestures, but through the simple, profound act of choosing to love someone and letting them love you back. Marcus looked at the crumpled paper in his hand, at the 4 wishes written in careful letters. He would frame this, put it in his office where he could see it every day. A reminder that the most valuable things in life can't be bought. They can only be wished for, by those pure enough of heart to wish for the right things. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, those wishes come true.